Hello and welcome to Sam Not So Wise. My name is Sam. So in a recent video, one viewer left a wonderful comment calling me a snob. So I found it just a little bit funny and thought it would be a perfect time to do the Snob Tag video. So nobody has actually tagged me, but I watched the video on Alan's channel, The Library of Alexandria, where he did it in a live format with two other wonderful people, Joanna from Joanna Reads and Philip from Philip Chase, the best of fantasy. Three of my all-time favorite YouTubers getting together talking about whether they are snobs. And it was a hysterical video. I really highly recommend watching it. They had some great in-depth conversations, but there was a lot of fun. So I'll pop that in the description, follow that link and watch that video. I highly recommend. Now, I could never dream of being that entertaining, but I want to find out if I am in fact a snob, and you lot can let me know in the comments below as well. So with that and much further ado, let's just see how snobbish I really am. Okay, so the first prompt is, what is your definition of book snobbery? So this is actually a little bit difficult to answer straight off the bat. For me, it's when somebody judges or looks down upon others for the types of book that they read, generally in terms of genre, or even judge people for the types of books that they don't read. So an obvious example would be someone who reads classics only, judging a person for reading romance books or romantasy books, whatever. So not only just judging them for the fact that they read that, but also for the fact that they don't read classics. Now, this kind of judgment could basically come in unlimited forms, because considering the spectrum of genres and books that are out there in the world, it's kind of endless. So the judgment could come in so many different forms. It's not just the classic and the romance one. That's just a typical, stereotypical one to use as an example. These kind of judgments could come in any form. Maybe the romance people could judge the classics people for being too sniffy or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So basically, to me, it's judgment passed on others for reading choices, generally in terms of types of books they read in terms of genre. Linking straight into my answer for question one is question two, is there a genre or type of book you would never consider reading? So, yes, there are a few. And this could possibly be the reason for that accusation that I got in my comments on that video. Now, I want to make this completely 100% clear. These are genres whose content just doesn't appeal to me, and I have no issue with those who read them and who love them. Like, go for it. I'm happy for you if these genres bring you a lot of joy and fulfillment and learning, anything like that. Just for me, they just don't appeal in terms of their content. And of course, never say never, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, at the moment, I can't see how that would change, but life changes and I may change as well. And in a world where one's TBR is endless, something needs to be cut, right? I can't read absolutely everything. And the following genres are just the ones that don't appeal to me. So yeah, I probably will never intentionally read a romantasy book or series. I don't mind romance in my books, but I'm not really drawn to ones where it is the central focus. I have read a romantasy before and it was not the best, so that didn't really help. The other one is kind of cozy books, cozy fantasy, cozy sci-fi, cozy anything really. I tend to quite enjoy dark and depressing things in general in my art, books, films, TV shows and music. And so I'm not really drawn to books that don't have some element of grit in them. I totally understand why these are appealing to a lot of people and why they're so popular, but for me, I just need a little bit of dirt in my art. Finally, it is lit RPG, the genre that is kind of taking BookTube by storm at the moment. I'm not so sure on this one, but at the moment I'm just not pulled to it at all. I like to play my games rather than read them, and at the moment there is just zero pull. But again, I want to stress, if you love these genres, I am so happy for you. There are so many books out there, we can't all read everything, we should read what we want to. I just don't really want to read those genres right now. Prompt number 3 is kind of a funny one, and it is, does erotica count as literature? For me, yes. Full stop. I'm not really sure why it wouldn't count as literature. It's written word, right? It's a story that has been created from somebody's mind with, you know, love and attention and care put into the story, even if it is about dirty things. This is a written word format that has been thought out and put into a narrative. So therefore, for me, that is literature. Now, also, I'm sure while some things in these books may be a little bit repetitive, which is the case in any genre, really, that there is variation and depth in the thousands of books available. There's got to be, otherwise, you know, it wouldn't be popular or in demand. So I would bet that there are plenty of erotica books out there that explore some deeper themes and move people emotionally, not just physically, I guess. Now, will I read some? Nah. Not really. I'm not drawn to it at all, but also kind of maybe, because like there's a series, Cushiel's Darts, for example, a classic fantasy series, which I believe is essentially erotica. If you've read it, let me know the levels of erotica in there, but I know there is definitely a lot of spice in there. And I'm kind of interested in a way because it is quite a famous series. This is a classic fantasy, kind of interesting to look at the history of it and how erotica is placed into that. So I'm kind of interested, so maybe, but generally other than that, probably not. Anyway, at the end of the day, erotica is written word, it's a story, it's a narrative, it's literature. Prompt number 4 is another difficult one to answer, and it is it better to read classic books than popular bestsellers? Interesting question, right? I would ask, is it better for what? You know, it's quite a loose question. So is it better to read them for enjoyment? Now, probably for a majority of people, that would be a no. The classics aren't as enjoyable as bestsellers. So better for enjoyment? No, don't read classics. Is it better? Are they better for learning the history of literature? Exploring books that kind of stand the test of time because of the way they explore the human condition? Yeah, probably. But we read books for different reasons, right? And we pick up different books for different reasons. I pick up a fast-paced book for one reason and then a deep, slow book for another reason. Almost every book has its own intrinsic value, in my opinion, and I believe you should probably just read what makes you happy, right? There's no should you or is it better to read any types of books, in my opinion. Do I think it's valuable to read classics? Absolutely. Is it important? Not necessarily. That's up to the reader and your choices in your reading journey. At the end of the day, I think it's important to read widely. From, you know, the fustiest old classic to the newest bestsellers, and just learn as much as possible from this wide variety and try and enjoy everything you read. At the end of the day, it's up to you. Is it better to read classic books than popular bestsellers? That depends on you. Prompt number 5. Have you ever bragged about reading a classic in order to sound smart? No, at least not to my memory. Maybe at some point in the past, but I don't remember it. I'd be scared of them just like asking me further questions and me having to kind of fabricate my reading experience of this book. And honestly, I'm quite a bad liar, so I'd be very frightened to lie about something like that. Also, I've been quite vocal on my channel about not having read many classics in the past and wanting to read more and trying to read more, which I kind of have started the journey of. So, no, I don't think so. Prompt number 6. Do audiobooks count as reading? What about comic books or graphic novels? Well, the last two are very easy and quick for me. Yes, a bit like the erotica question, they're a form of literature where a narrative is portrayed portrayed through the written word. Sure, they are augmented by art, but you can't consume the full story without reading the words. So therefore, for me, they are literature and you are reading them. So it is reading, right? Absolutely. As for audiobooks, I would also say yes, they are a form of reading. I'm on the side of if you're consuming the story, then you're reading it. I kind of compare it to, you know, hearing and listening. Maybe somebody has said something to you and your ears have picked up the sound, but you've not listened to them. You know, it's different. You need to concentrate and absorb what they're saying to have listened to it. Hearing and listening are different. Also, looking and reading are different. Maybe I will, you know, if I'm tired, I'll read through, I won't read through a page. I'll look through a page of text. None of it will have gone in. Have I actually read it? No, I've just looked at the words. I haven't read it unless I've consumed it. Therefore, if you're consuming it through your ears or through your eyes, but the story has embedded into your brain, to me, you have read that book. Now, my wife, for example, she only does audiobooks because her ADHD doesn't allow her to concentrate for a long amount of times with her eyes. It's just something that she cannot do. But she has read a bunch of books through audio. So if I was to ask her, have you read Jade City, right? She wouldn't say no because she'd listened to it. So she has read it. It'd be weird for her to say no, having consumed that book through audiobooks. So that is my long-winded way of saying that for me, in my opinion, my humble little opinion, I believe audiobooks do count as reading. Prompt number 7, have you ever looked down at someone for reading a particular fluff book? In all honesty, probably in the past. Now, I don't think I could give you a particular example, but probably in my youth, you know, in my early 20s or late teens or something, being more immature, I probably did at some point. You know, there's that weird thing of youth where you're starting to be more intelligent and then you start to think that you're better than other people. I'm probably guilty of that, but I cannot remember it. Really, like examples. Now, would I now? Absolutely not. I'm definitely now of the mind of if you're reading, then that is great. That's wonderful. Read what you want, read what you enjoy. Life's too short to do otherwise. So have I ever done it? Probably. Can I think of an example? No. Do I do it now? Absolutely not. Prompt number 8. Have you ever been the recipient of someone else's snobbery? Now, yeah, you know, for sure. Now, I don't know if this is just because I have bad memory or just because it's been a while since it's happened, but I can't remember the exact moments that this has happened, but I've definitely been on the receiving end of judgment for being like a mainly genre reader, you know? Lots of people, who are wrong, by the way, believe that there is no literary value in fantasy or sci-fi, my favorite things to read in the world. And some noses have definitely turned up in response to me saying that this is what I read mostly. So again, whilst I can't give you an example, I've definitely been on the receiving end of being a genre reader. You know, somebody judging me for that, saying that it's not as good as X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I think so. Prompt number 9 is a fun one for me. Would you ever be friends with a snob? Probably, yeah. Like, I guess it just depends how snobbish they are. Like, if it is just always vitriolic and used as a weapon and often, I can't see myself being overly enamored with this person. But if it's just like a little bit of light snobbery here and there that can entertain like a lively debate in a good-natured manner, then I can see that being fun, you know, like a way of bonding over this debate experience. Like me and my wife debate each other all the time. Maybe some of it's snobbery, maybe some of it's not, but I'm always up for a good little debate, and a little bit of snobbery can be the catalyst for such debates, right? So I'm sure many of my friends have some snob in them somewhere, and it'll be fun to find that out over time and talk about it, have great discussions, and maybe, you know, teach each other something from these discussions. I'll also mention, by the way, that, for example, I live in Iceland. a lot of Icelanders are quite snobbish about their language, for example. Now, yeah, they're just extremely defensive of their language and become very snobbish when anything new is introduced to the language. So that's an example of me being surrounded by a lot of snobbery. It is quite understandable in many ways, but again, it just leads up to some wonderful debates. So I'm not completely against having snobbery in my life with my loved ones, but as long as it's friendly, good-natured, and not vitriolic. The 10th and final prompt: are people who don't read less sophisticated than people who do? No, absolutely not. For me, at least, sophistication comes in endless forms, whether that is reading and literature, art, music, film and TV, carpentry, sciences, architecture, fashion. The list could go on and on and on. And reading is just one way of being sophisticated, whatever that means. So if you don't read, there are many other ways that you can be sophisticated, and there are many ways in which I am not sophisticated. So many ways. So that is just one route to whatever this sophistication thing is for me. So that's my final answer. So that's the end of the video. If you've made it this far, I thank you. As always, I really appreciate it. It helps the channel so much. Now, I want some engagement. That'll be wonderful. Do you think I'm a snob from my answers to these questions? Also, bear in mind that I do, in fact, grind my own beans for coffee, so that could add another level of snobbery to me, for example. So yeah, leave any answers in the comments. You can do all the questions, you can do one or two. I'd be interested to hear what you think. Please keep it kind and respectful of me and other people. I'm not going to tag anybody because, you know, some people don't really like to be tagged, but I'll leave it up to other booktubers out there to do the tags themselves, because I would really like to see some more answers to these questions. I think it's a really fun tag. If you do so, having watched my video, please do tag me, because I am really interested in seeing my friends' answers. So I think that is about it for today. So if you liked the video, please like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and join my journey here. Have a conversation with me in the comments. And for now, I will see you in another video soon. Goodbye.